So it's officially been a year since I bought the Tudor Black Bay 54, and after owning this for some time, wearing it a lot, I thought, let's do a long-term review. This was one of the big standout watches of Watches and Wonders 2023, and there's a good reason for that. So today I wanted to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Tudor Black Bay 54, and some of the things I haven't heard other reviewers say. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and on this channel we just talk about watches in a hopefully not pretentious and joyful way. As I said at the beginning, this is my personal watch, so this isn't on loan. This video is my honest thoughts about the Black Bay 54 after owning it for just over a year now. This was a very different watch purchase for me. I'm normally very slow and calculated when buying a watch. I will stalk a watch for years, I'll learn all the ins and outs of it, try it on a few times before actually buying. After all, these are expensive purchases and I want to be quite sure before actually buying. But this is not what I did with this one at all. It was a few days after Watches and Wonders last year, they had it in the shop, available to sell, and it was a very expensive impulse purchase for me. I think I was just going through some stuff when I bought this. I had just been through this horrible life-changing bicycle accident, recovering from surgery, and I was just feeling carpe diem. Let's do it. I had the money in the account, I really liked it, and the stars just aligned. I haven't had any buyer's remorse, so that's always good. But yeah, it was just a very out of character thing for me to do and buy. Looking at the basic specifications and wearability, if you're not as familiar with this watch, it has a case diameter of 37.3 millimeters, a thickness of 11.4 mil, and a lug-to-lug of 46.8 millimeters. That case diameter and lug-to-lug can sound a little bit small to the modern watch buyer, especially if you're used to something like the Omega Seamaster Diver 300. But this watch is surprisingly wearable even on a larger wrist. So here's this one on my 5.5-inch wrist, which is a smaller sized wrist, versus my husband's 7-inch wrist, which is an average men's wrist size. I would recommend this one even for a 7.5-inch wrist if you're comfortable with vintage proportions. The case material is stainless steel, it has a screw-down crown, and 200 meters of water resistance. So really great dive watch specifications, better specifications than 98% of us will ever need, definitely including myself in there. Powering this watch is the Tudor in-house MT5400 COSC certified caliber, which will give you 70 hours of power reserve. Now that we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, let's talk about the good stuff. I feel like there's a lot of things that I would consider good, but maybe other people would consider bad, or the greatest strengths of this watch also serve as its greatest weaknesses. For me, this is one of the easiest to wear, easiest to choose watches that I own. The perfect size, the bracelet is quite easy to adjust on the fly with the T-fit clasp, and the colors work with everything. This is still the dive watch of my dreams, and there genuinely is not a dive watch on the market right now that I would choose over this. That's my personal opinion. I know I will have some knob in the comment section saying, "Oh, that's just because you can't afford a Submariner." And while that is true, I just genuinely think this is a better watch for me than the Submariner. It's okay if you love your sub and it's the perfect watch for you. No one is going to try to take that away from you. But for me personally, this is perfect. Aesthetically, this watch is timeless. I always describe it as the Black Bay 58 refined, so smaller crown, which is because of the vintage model the Black Bay 54 is referencing, rather than the big crown of the 58. The lollipop seconds hand, rather than a snowflake. Different bezel grip, smaller, more compact size, and the Black Bay 54 is far less slab-sided. I prefer the less gilt on the Black Bay 54 versus the Black Bay 58, the black and gilt one. So the black and white on the bezel, with the warmth of the gilt on the hands and indices. I think some could accuse this watch of being a bit boring, but this channel has always been a shameless defender of the boring watch. It's not boring, it's timeless. It's what makes this so easy to wear, and this could easily be the only sports watch someone owned. I think there's an argument that this could be the only watch someone would have to own and get a lot of use out of it. Another great thing about this one is the sizing. So I think hearing a case diameter of 37 millimeters can turn people off. I always describe it as having vintage proportions, but with modern build quality. It is almost jarring for a minute because it looks so vintage, but it feels so modern in hand, and it has perfect proportions. It's a very comfortable watch. You can almost forget you're wearing it sometimes because there's a nice lightness to it. Not too light or anything like that. A very nice lightness to it. Yeah, I've never found it uncomfortable. Moving on, and of course, we have to talk about the clasp. I won't linger here too long because I've talked about it so many times before. This is fitted with the Tudor T-Fit clasp, which gives you 5 positions of micro adjustment. And it's hard to explain how handy this is. On-the-fly micro adjustments are like the cup holders of the watch world. I know we went a long time without them, but now that we have them, they are so good and there's no going back. But this is one of the big things that causes me to choose my Tudor Black Bay 54 over my Black Bay 58. I can't believe Tudor still hasn't given the Black Bay 58 the T-Fit clasp. I thought for sure at Watches and Wonders this year it was going to be an upgrade they made to this model. In fact, I had advised people not to buy Black Bay 58 before Watches and Wonders because I said for sure they're gonna have to unroll this with the Black Bay 58. It's such a huge flagship model. It's such a huge model for the brand. Why it doesn't have this upgraded clasp, I don't know. But they didn't update it, and I'm so sorry to anyone who followed my horrible advice. The last good thing, and I hope this doesn't make me sound really pretentious when I say this, but hear me out. There's a simplicity in Tudor design that I love. There's this sports watch purity that I feel like Rolex has lost, but Tudor holds on to, and Tudor has taken up that mantle. I know the limitations of Tudor. Like if you hold this watch next to an Omega Seamaster or a Rolex, there is a gulf in elegance, as there should be for the price difference. But I kind of love the simplicity of the Tudor. For me, it's a feature and not a fault. I really think you're getting a lot of watch for the money with Tudor. The specifications, the level of finishing you get, a manufacturer caliber movement for 3,360 pounds, that's pretty dang great. It's not cheap by any stretch. For me, it's at a price where I have to really think about it. This would be a very special purchase for me, but it's not completely unattainable like it is for some of the more luxury brands. This is achievable luxury. Looking at the bad, as I said before, some of the things that make this watch awesome in my eyes will be the very reasons why other people don't like it. For one, the sizing. Making a watch 37mm will be quite limiting for a lot of people, just like making a 44mm is quite limiting for a lot of people. But I still really have to defend Tudor on this one. I think it fills a need in their current catalog. They already have the Black Bay 41 for the larger wrist, the Black Bay 58 at 39mm to cater to a majority of people, and the addition of the Black Bay 54 at 37mm for people with smaller wrists or people who like vintage proportions really meets something different. I'll be really quick with this next one because we all already know it. We've all already heard it a million times, but the faux rivets on the bracelet, it's just not the one. One of the biggest critiques of the Black Bay line has been the faux rivet bracelet. I think especially after seeing the Black Bay 58 in gold without the faux rivets, it just makes you see how good it could be without them. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's not as big of a deal as a lot of reviewers make it out to seem. You never look down and think, those faux rivets. If only the faux rivets weren't there. You will never notice them, but it would aesthetically look nicer without them. My last critique would be I would love to see more color options. As great as the black and gilt is, Tudor does blue so well. I'd love to see this in a blue or a green, or maybe even a red burgundy like the Black Bay is in. Something to mix it up a bit more. Okay, for this last section, I want to talk about the things reviewers don't say, or the things they sometimes miss. Now, this doesn't mean no reviewer except for me has ever said this. I don't know. Maybe they have. I haven't watched every single second of every single review that's ever been made. But these are things I personally haven't seen people talk about, or maybe they have, but I think we should be making a bigger fuss about it. So for one, the Tudor bezel action. When buying a watch with a rotatable bezel, there's a lot of different sounds and feelings it can give you. Tudor bezel action is just, oh, it's so good. Like, listen to this. A really nice, low frequency, 60 click bezel that just feels right in your hand. It doesn't slip. And then, when you get it back around to 12 o'clock, there's a slight resistance. So you could fully turn this around with your eyes closed, and you would naturally feel some resistance at 12 o'clock. I'm not a diver. I don't need this feature. I just think it's cool. And the next thing is a bad thing about Tudor that I think we probably should be talking about a wee bit more than we do. It's Tudor's QC, or Tudor's quality control. I mentioned this before. When this watch first came out, there was a press piece being sent around, and the lume pip and triangle at 12 o'clock was genuinely awful. It was diabolical. Look how off-center that is. I had so many commenters saying, no, it's just the angle, you got it all wrong, Brit. But no, it wasn't. It was just such a poor effort. And maybe that's why it became the press piece, maybe because it was unsellable as it was. But I just don't think that's a great piece to be using to showcase your watch online. And it really isn't limited to just that one story. I've met so many Tudor lovers, collectors, enthusiasts who have had QC problems with their lume pips and triangles. Sometimes it just not being quite centered. Sometimes it was something you could see under a loupe. Sometimes it was something you could see with the naked eye. I met someone recently who had this problem, sent the watch back to Tudor, and they came back saying that his model was actually within their tolerances. Now I know each brand will have different tolerances, and I'm not the biggest stickler for this kind of stuff. I'm a little bit wabi-sabi. I kind of like things being slightly imperfect. It makes it feel like, that's my watch. It's just slightly wonky. And I've also personally never had this problem with the Tudor watch. Both of mine are fine, the lume pip and the triangles, but I've heard it from enough people. And if you're someone with an engineer's eye, maybe you're a bit more of a perfectionist with how your watches look, I would strongly advise you to look at a Tudor watch under a loupe before you buy it, if it's going to bother you. Once again, I personally haven't had any problems with this. I've just heard enough stories from other people, and seeing that press piece, just something to watch out for. Now, creating this video, I've spent a lot of time researching, analyzing a lot of information, and coupling that with my own lived experience. And something that has been helping me stay sharp in my data analysis is today's video sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is an online STEM learning platform where you learn by doing, through thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, engineering, programming, and data analysis. If you are a long-time viewer of my channel, you know I've been using and partnering with Brilliant for a while now because they really are one of the best ways to learn. It's not sitting around watching boring lecture videos. It is hands-on problem solving that lets you play with concepts. It's about building your critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorizing. I've just started a couple new courses, so one on AI and LLM, or large language models, and how they work, because I'm genuinely confused about AI, and I probably should know how to use it a little bit better for the future. And I started a course on search engines and how I can use them to help my channel. Whether you're a professional trying to build up your skills, or a lifelong learner who just wants to stay sharp, you need to check out Brilliant. To try everything they have on offer for free for a full 30 days, check out brilliant.org/BritPierce. You'll find that link in my description, and you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thank you so much to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. They're awesome. Go check them out. If you have a Black Bay 54, I'd love to hear all your thoughts in those comments down below. Give us your assessment. Don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff so more people can find my videos. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And now we're going to thank the fabulous, gorgeous, wonderful Pope tier patrons. Ooh, 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 it's a Patron song. Patron song, it's freaking back, yeah! Ooh, 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 it's a Patron song. Thank you, Pope tier patrons. Thank you, all tier patrons. The Pope tier patrons.